Good morning, students. Today I am taking to the next chapter, which is chapter 10 in macroeconomics, and the name of the chapter is Government Budget and the Economy. Basically, we all know that every person who's there in the economy, even if you take a small family, prepares a budget. Budget is exactly about what we earn and what we spend. So now let us try to understand in the context of government budget and the economy. So the concept of government budget is somewhat like that every year the budget gets unfolded on February 1st and is a well-known date in India when the finance minister presents the annual budget of the government and it has been approved by the parliament. In this budget, basically two important things are being discussed. The first one is the financial performance of the government over the past 1 year, like what was the performance of the government of the different industries, what were the revenue earned in the past 1 year, and what were the expenditure. So this was one of the concept of budget, is that to understand the performance of the past and to learn the mistakes of the past and not to repeat in the next financial year. The next one is the financial programs and policies of the government for the next 1 year, maybe like for this year 2020-21. So in this the government prepares certain programs and policies of the government, that from where would they will earn the money in the form of taxes, fees, and the same taxes and fees what they earn in the form of revenue, where they would spend, for example in the field of defense or education or health sector. So these are the financial programs and policies of the government for the next 1 year. Let us understand the objectives of government budget. Whenever a government budget is formed or been introduced, it has certain objectives. The first important objective is GDP growth, and with GDP, the word itself says, the full form of GDP is gross domestic product. The meaning is that how much production takes place in our country, in our domestic area, in consideration of our country. So if more of things are produced in our own country, which we are today calling as Atmanirbhar Bharat, so automatically there will be more resources or more revenue earned, because the same thing what has been produced is been sold in the market or is been exported abroad. So GDP itself means that the main objective of budget is to put more and more revenue or resources in the field of production. So it means that the loans are given to open new industries, to open new startups. So that could relate to gross domestic product and its growth. Then we come to the next second one, is called allocation of resource. So allocation of resource is to mean to allocate or to provide resources to private as well as public sectors. Certain resources are being restricted for the private enterprises, and certain areas are under the control of government. So those resources are being divided in such a way so that India being a mixed economy, we could allocate the resources to the private as well as public sectors. Now we come to the next point, which is called as provision of public goods. The supply and demand forces in a market economy do not allow enough production of public goods, and these are those goods which satisfy collective needs of people. For example, law and order, defense of the country, and it is necessary for every country to introduce, to keep a reserve for the defense of the country, for law and order, and this is the way they try to introduce that revenue or use that revenue in the form of expenses done on the law and order of the country and the defense. This is called the provision for certain public goods, or it could be even railways, like laying down the new railway line, because it is still in the government sector. So how does the country try to utilize its resource in such a manner to get the more and more benefit from those resources? The fourth one comes as redistribution of income and wealth. This is a very important objective of government budget. Meaning is that we could collect taxes from the wealth in the form of wealth tax, income tax, and try to provide benefit to the weaker section or to the poor section of the economy, like farmers and landless workers, by reducing or giving them job opportunities, health benefits. So this is a very basic concept in our country where there is large scale unemployment and large scale poverty. So this is the way there is a redistribution of wealth by taking money in the form of tax and fees from the rich people and providing the benefits to the poor people. Then comes the fifth important point, which is called balanced regional growth. Region means the place where, like in India, we talk about certain regions, like we say southern region, western. But if we consider a smaller area like Madhya Pradesh, and we say that in Madhya Pradesh there is a tribal region very close to the place where we live, those are the areas, if it is backward, the government has to provide job opportunities, industrial growth, education facilities, so that every region of the country gets benefit and does not remain backward in the economy. That is called balanced regional growth. Very important aspect of the government budget is to provide employment opportunities, because in India, I just told you, there are large scale unemployment, and it is the duty of government to provide more and more employment opportunities to the students who have graduated, to the students who have taken degrees or post graduation degrees, or they have done engineering or many other vocational trainings if they have taken. So government has the duty to provide them with employment opportunities. Then comes the economic stability. Economic stability takes place in India where we consider our economy as a mixed economy, so that there is a balanced growth between the public and the private sector. There is a free play of market forces which are bound to generate trade cycles, or which are also called as business cycle. There is a flow of money which takes place in the economy, and if that flow of money continues without any break, like right now if we say that economic stability due to COVID has been jeopardized, is not there, because the flow of money in the economy has come to a standstill. But if it continues to rotate in the market, then it is called as economic stability. Then we come to the next part of this chapter, which is called as component of the budget, which is budget receipt, which is including revenue receipt and capital receipt. Now revenue receipt, I just told you that every way the government gets taxes, fees, fines that comes under revenue, which could be tax or non-tax receipt. Capital receipt when any government takes loan from the central government or from the World Bank, then it is called capital receipt. So budget receipt include both revenue receipt and capital receipt. And budget expenditure, when we get that money, how we spend that money. If it has been spent by giving the loan or repaying the loan back, it is called capital. And when we spend other than loan, like spending on health sector, spending on education sector, defense sector, and that revenue which has been spent on wages and salaries and many other aspects other than giving out or paying out the loan is called revenue expenditure. If you are paying out the loan or loan is being paid back, then it is called capital expenditure. So this is all about the first part of your chapter, budget and the economy. We'll go further in the second chapter, in the second part of the same chapter, where we'll try to understand more in detail about the budget receipt and the budget expenditure. So students, please refer to your books carefully and try to find out what is been spoken about the budget. Read out carefully, and if you have doubts, then please try to clarify on the WhatsApp group. Thank you.